Today's the deadline. Where's tomorrow's? Tomorrow. Nothing like the live stream. So conscious about your posture.
This is part of that.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. Oh, I just got a notification. Oh, Android and just. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Hello down at Mary. It's nice to see you.
I'm without internet in my Wi-Fi in my building. I'm working it off my phone on data.
Goodness, okay, well, as soon as we get our quorum, we will get the ball rolling so that we do not waste any more of your data than absolutely necessary.
I have to leave at 5:15. I have a standing commitment every last Tuesday of the month at 5:30.
Okay.
I don't know what's happened. I saw Shaw trucks out there hanging around the building today, so we having a problem of some kind. It's very windy down here. Well, you must see the wind at City Hall.
Yes, yeah, the trees are shaking over here, that's for sure.
It's always windier down here. Your voices, your sound is, I don't know, maybe it's because of I'm getting it through my phone, but your sound is almost like you're underwater.
Oh, I wonder if it might be the competition with the heater or something like that. Well, you don't have one. I don't know, well, I guess we'll see.
It may just be me.
So there is a little bit of background noise with the heater, so.
Is this better?
That's a little better, yep.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. I didn't realize you could do that.
Well, magic. Should have turned it back on.
Yeah.
So we're still waiting for one more.
We'll cross our fingers.
Elf kicks off this weekend.
Ooh, I haven't got my tickets yet.
Yeah, so one of our staff is involved with helping with all the stage stuff, so. So yeah, so I think that'll be a fun show for everybody.
What show is that?
Elf,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the Sioux Community Theater Center, I believe it's taking place there.
And I think it's selling very well too.
Yeah, it's timely with Christmas, so should be a fun one for, I think, families.
Yeah.
Any other events coming up that anybody's aware of while we're waiting?
Yeah, anything to promote or?
Forget the name of it. Lucas Beaver is doing something interesting in the spring. It's one of these shows involving a male quartet, you know?
Oh, nice. Yeah, Lucas is also directing Elf, I think.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I think he usually does a couple shows a year at least, so he's pretty involved with us.
He's very good. Apparently, I've never been in a production with him, but apparently he's pretty easy to get along with. And he budgets everything and he keeps to his budget. He watches it all, just like a hawk.
Yeah, I've done numerous shows with him now, and he's great. He's very talented. This show that's upcoming in the spring is going to be very interesting, and it's I believe all, with the exception of one, it's a very small cast. I think it's like 5 or 6 people, but I believe that with the exception of one role, all the participants are musicians and actors. So they all, it's one of those oh gosh, I'm forgetting. Chuck
It's like-
Berry and I don't know, it's like four famous actor or like musicians. And it's like that movie that was one night, the one with, was it Muhammad
Well,
Ali and somebody, there was one of those kind of thing. I'm not,
One night in Miami.
was that it? Yeah. So it's, I think it's along the same lines as that, but
Or
the
Jersey Boys, it's that kind of thing.
yeah, but the cast have to play and act.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool show.
Oh, I know one that's coming that should be interesting. It's a radio play. It's a Wonderful World. And so it's staged as a radio play, and it looks very interesting.
Oh, I was wondering about that because I heard that it was a radio play, but then I saw it was at the theater center. I wasn't sure if it was like just like you said, staged like a radio play, or if it was something else.
And no, I think it's fully staged, and it looks interesting.
I believe that Algoma Repertory Theater is doing that.
That's right.
I said, I believe Algoma Repertory Theater is doing that Christmas radio play.
Yes.
Mhm. I just got cast in a play for the very first time.
Ooh, what is this?
What play?
It's a it's a Norm Foster play. And it's called Ned Durango Comes to Town. Harry Houston's doing it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Foster is a great playwright.
Yeah.
And it usually is very humorous, but packs a serious punch.
Yeah. I've never done a play before, so this should be fun.
He's doing one in the spring, I think, that my son-in-law wrote. Rob
Oh,
Downs.
Harry is? Harry
Yeah,
is?
yeah.
Cool.
So,
All right, it looks like we have our quorum, and I want to be mindful of your data usage there, Larry. So we'll call the meeting to order at 4:40. Do I have a mover for the adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting? I see Larry. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Heather. Thank you both very much. All those in favor, please remain silent. Anybody abstaining or opposed, please open your mic to express your intent or indicate so in the chat. And the motion carries. The next item is the declaration of any pecuniary interests. Following up from our previous meeting, again, I'll declare a conflict on item 4.4.10. Are there any other declarations? I see Donna.
I have a conflict on all matters as I'm an employee of Algoma Arts Festival Association, which applies to the fund.
Thank you very much, Donna. And then I see Heather.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. In the last call, I believe I said 4.4.7. Still the same.
Living history, wonderful. Any other declarations of pecuniary interest?
question,
Yes.
if you belong to a group that applies for funding, is that a conflict? I mean, you got to be out of the room when you have your own, but last time, I'm secretary of the Theater Center Board. And last time I sat in, except for when the Theater Center's application came up.
You're only obliged to excuse yourself for those applications for the associations that you either work for or on the board for, or have like a direct potential conflict. But it's also at the discretion of the individual members. So if you feel like, for whatever reason, you either can't be impartial or you don't want to be party to the discussions, then you can still declare a conflict based on your personal preference. But you're absolutely right there. You are only obliged in the situation that that you mentioned. Any other declarations? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, which is the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover for the agenda? Moved by Jane, seconded by Donna.
Okay, so Dawn, I'll put you in a breakout room and then we'll bump you back in at the end of the meeting. Or when we get to the end of that agenda item 4, okay? Okay, we're good. I think Donna's in the breakout room. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're good.
All right, so the next item is the Arts and Culture Assistance Program. First, we have a brief overview of policy and procedures for the review. Now, we did go over this at our last meeting. I know we have a couple of people who were joining us today that weren't at that meeting. But the general gist of the process is that we will each take turns adjudicate or leading the discussion for each of the applications. Once the initial person who has led the discussion for a given application has introduced it, provided any comments or assessments that they wish to share, it then rotates to the next person. And to make things a little less clunky, I'll just call on you in the order that I see you on the Zoom screen. After each item, you have the ability and the opportunity to revise your score if something that somebody has said has impacted your feelings in any particular way, whether you want to increase or decrease a score. And Samantha is here with the tally sheets as well and can adjust scores as we see fit. Following that, we then review the potential distribution of the fund. Now, one thing to update any participants who were not able to review either the minutes or the recording from last meeting is that the committee decided not to include the late submission in the assessment, though whoever applied is invited to apply for the winter intake. Or I should say the late intake is what we probably call it. And then 2 others were removed from consideration due to low score threshold and due to incompleteness of their application. So these were item 4.4.2 on your agenda and item 4.4.5 on your agenda. So we did review one of the applications, the Art Speaks project 4.4.1. So that puts us in the next order. We would proceed with 4.4.3, Drawing Club, then Fringe North, then Hanson Sandwich, and so on. Is that a sufficient review, or does anybody request more detail about our process? Or any clarification? I don't see anybody clamoring to have extra information, so perhaps we shall proceed. So let me just move to our next item, which is disclosure of distribution of funding across streams. So I believe we're sharing this thing, right? Yeah. So many thanks to our staff who have indicated where there were some discrepancies, usually based on misunderstandings of the application, where more funds were requested than are potentially eligible for. So The actual eligible amount of the funding has been identified in column G. What, G? Yes. Yeah. The maximum allowable amount. So that's just for our reference in the future. Are there any questions on the distribution of funding? Seeing none, we'll move on to determination of funding thresholds. We did this at our last meeting where we didn't apply any additional funding thresholds, but what resulted in one of the applications being removed is the standard threshold of at least a score of 50% being required. So next we'll move into the review of the applications. We will go up from, well, how about let's make this easier. Could I have a volunteer to begin our discussions with Drawing Club?
That shows in our materials as the club, the K.
Oh, sorry, that is a different, that's a different application. It's a bit confusing. I know their names are very similar. This is item 4.4.3 on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
No worries. So, do we know what's
Yeah, it's third one in, Larry, or?
Yeah, I found it.
Oh,
Okay,
great, great,
perfect.
great. Thank you so much, Larry. Would you like to begin or?
Yeah, I can do it. It's been a while since I've read this, but I'll just follow the, their introductory description, and I've written my own comments.
Wonderful.
And I can't stay that long anyway.
No worries.
So this is a group that intends to develop and produce a high quality documentary that will tell stories of the 7 Canadian hockey players that were members of the Italian men's.
Sorry, Larry, that is, we goofed a bit on the number. It should probably be the next tab.
It's 4.4.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see it. Yep.
No worries.
I'm working from hard copy, eh?
Yes, and we're sorry for the confusion, and we're comparing different agendas and things like that. So thank you for your patience.
Well, thank you for yours.
Oh, no problem.
So they're professional artists who are aiming to provide barrier-free access to art instruction collaboration for young and emerging artists in the Soo via monthly art making sessions. And the end of the sessions will result in a group show. Their hope is to foster, develop, and encourage the next generation of artists in the Soo. And they're asking for, where is it? They're asking for Drawing Club, where is it? They're asking, they can ask for $2,999. They asked for $3,000. The professional artists are Matt Langdon and Casey McGlynn, and I think they're relatively new to the Soo, as I recall. My thoughts about this, they seem to be primarily targeting targeting national and international audiences more than local audiences. At least that was my. No, that's not them. I don't have the right one. Anyway. I thought these guys were pretty well qualified. and and capable. They seem to know what they're doing. And we don't have a whole lot of professional artists in Sault Ste. Marie. I thought that their project was interesting and might be worthwhile a seed project. But on the downside, I think they're intending that we fund the whole thing, their whole project, and maybe this is just the first time, but I don't see any there's not much track record. So that's a nutshell of the nutshell.
Thank you so much, Larry. I think Virginia had a clarifying
Yeah.
point.
I was just saying, they are a new group, so this is first time funding, and under kind of that seed funding, we are eligible for 100% funding, because it's kind of that kickoff, since they really don't have a lot of that history or establishment is really there to get them going. There's a new and emerging group.
Thank you for the context.
Well, it's a very modest project. And it intrigued me that, that we would have some professional artists in the Soo, and I would tend to support them, but I think I scored them at 11.
Great. Thank you so much.
I don't know where they came out in the wash.
Yeah, it looks like a total score of 9.4 overall. Next, Jane, is there anything that you would add to the discussion of this application?
I think Larry has been very comprehensive in describing the team. I scored them across board at a 3, so my total was 9, but I'm okay leaving it at 9.3.
Thank you, Jane. Katie? Any additions?
No, I meant 9.4. I said they are at 9.4, not 9.3. Just a clarification. Thank you.
No problem.
I don't have anything to add.
Thank you, Katie. Heather?
I have nothing else to add other than I thought their application was really good. I think it would be a project that's absolutely worth funding. I think it's a very inclusive project and reaching out to a lot of different people that just want to come out and to a safe place to create art. That's great.
Thanks, Heather. All right. Does anybody wish to adjust their scores in any way?
I forget whether it showed where these fellows trained or if they trained. I had the impression that they did. So whoever, and the reason that I thought that important was that if you're getting amateur artists trying to bring people in, they'll be able to talk about different styles and methods, and they're a resource, not just artists, but they're a resource for that type of work.
Very good point. Thank you, Larry. Katie?
Yeah, I'm willing to raise my score. I hadn't realized that they were a new group. So bear with me a moment while I open up the application. So I think I would raise mine. I'm fine with 9. I'm fine with the committee's decision of 9.4. So but I'd raise mine in community impact and viability.
Great. Thank you, Katie.
All right, here we go.
Thank you so much. And again, thanks you guys. I know it's challenging and you're doing such a great job. All right. Any other revisions? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next application. So the next one in our package is for Fringe North, item 4.4.4. Jane, would you like to lead our discussion on Fringe North?
Sorry, did you say, your sound is not very clear from my end. Did you say Fringe North?
That's right. Sorry about that. I'll try to project more.
Just give me a moment. I want to bring my documents up. It's been a while, and so
Don't worry.
I really enjoyed reading the application of Fringe North. I think they're a very well now known and established organization in the Sioux, having done this work for a while. So this is not their first rodeo doing this. I read through the description, and for me, it fitted really well into their reach in terms of who they are looking at engaging and what the impact will be to the community. And also, when I was looking at the discipline focus that they provide, I think they are one of the few that clicked all the boxes that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the 8 boxes, just showing, demonstrating to me how well informed they are, how vast and experienced are in the work that they are doing, and how intentional they are in making sure that the work they do is impactful to the community. And I also looked at the demographic in terms of the age group that they were aiming to reach. It's quite comprehensive, just looking at the boxes that they ticked. I was very impressed by what I was reading, so I was a bit generous with the marks that I was awarding them, and I did give them a score of 14. However, I'm okay to keep my score at 13.6 with the general overview from the committee.
Thank you, Jane. And also, just to clarify, the average score that you see there, it's not set in stone. It's really just an averaging of the scores that have been submitted. So that will rise or fall depending on if anybody changes their scores. But thank you so much for that summary, Jane. Katie, is there anything that you would add to the discussion about the application?
Sorry, was that you're calling on me?
That's right, yes.
So I thought that the application was really well done. I think it impacts a number of priority groups. And I also thought the budget was really realistic. So I did score them quite high. So I'm okay with 13.6.
Thanks, Katie. Heather, any additional comments?
No, I think Jane's summary was excellent. I'm really impressed by how much Fringe North has grown since they started here. And the fact that there's only 2 of these in the North is really great. So I'm fine with my score that I submitted.
Thanks, Heather. Larry, last word to you.
I thought it was a good application. I mean, it was well put together. And I think it's an important project if they can get it, pull it off. I guess I've been here long enough that I know that they've really struggled. And I hope they can be encouraged. I gave them 11 as a score, but I did have some concerns or questions over their budget. They have a budget of $334,600. And we can give them up to $23,750. And I'm not sure where they're going to get the other. I know they're looking for other grants, But boy, that's a lot of money to make up. And we don't have any track record or live very not much because of, I think, the problems they've had in past years. But like, I'm wondering who gets a $40,000 salary. So I had some questions about their budget. But there we are. I'd rather have a Fringe North if they can pull it off.
Thank you, Larry. Any revisions to any scores based on the discussion so far? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item. So that will actually be Handsome Sandwich, given Glen Oak Academy was removed due to the scoring threshold. So that is item 4.4.6. And Katie, would you like to begin our discussion on Handsome Sandwich?
Yep, bear with me a moment just while I pull it up.
No problem.
I've got a number of things I've got to pull up here in order to get this. So I have okay, I've got it. So I thought that there was not a huge defined history of achievements in the organization or in the band, I should say. There is clear artistic value to the rock band and what they're proposing to do. But moving on to the remainder of the application. So they're not asked, their small project grant of $2,999. So it's not a whole lot that they're asking for. They've completed their self-finance production and recording phase of their album locally. And the project intends to provide an outstanding example of local cultural product, demonstrating how local art can be pushed to the next level. Moving back to my actual application here. I didn't think that it was going to impact as many groups as what they're proposing. I thought that they could make it more accessible. And then with the budget, I just didn't think that there was a lot of past history of success in the budget, but it was a realistic budget nonetheless. And I think that that's about it.
Thank you, Katie. Heather, any additional comments?
I agree with the cultural merit. I found that portion to be very good. The community impact, I scored that low in my submission because me personally did not see the community impact would be broad. I couldn't really see, I just couldn't see that. And the viability of the project and the activity, I scored that lower because they're up based on what Katie said, the track record. I agree with that.
Thanks, Heather. Larry?
Yeah, I gave it a score of 7. I thought that their financial detail was not that clear. Their budget shows expenses of $12,950 for musical equipment, that is instruments, of $14,000 overall, $14,000 budgeted. In other words, we appear to be helping them buy instruments or musical equipment of some kind. I didn't think that it would, I thought it would have a fairly narrow impact on the community. It probably has as much impact outside the community as in the community. That's not necessarily bad. I thought the project was viable. Certainly from the applicant artist's point of view, And there would be some impact. But I thought the main impact was on the artists getting themselves known as much as possible provincially and maybe even nationally. I didn't see the focus as being all that great on the community.
Thank you, Larry.
And I think part of the problem is people doing recordings, the industry has become so fractured that it's difficult to reach the public. So anyway, there we are. I seem to be within the range of the average score. I'm quite happy with it.
Thank you, Larry. Jane, any additional comments?
I scored them at a 7. I don't have any additional comments. I'm in line with what everybody else has said. I found it a little difficult or challenging trying to really connect with what the overall impact was. And as Larry said, I also looked at their budget and I wasn't very sure what we're going to fund, but I think Larry clarified it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Just on the comments about the budget, I think that they had requested, this is just a clarifying point. They had requested specifically related to recording costs. Is this correct?
So they provided a mixing quote for the total that they are requesting. So it's for mixing services of 11 songs. So that's what the ACAP funds would be used for.
Thank you for the clarification. All right. The only thing that I would add here, and I always hesitate a little bit to even chime in, is just I definitely concur with much of what's been said. Although I think I scored it a little higher on community impact because it's a big impact for this group and their ability to be practicing artists in the city of Sault Ste. Marie. And so I was thinking a bit more in terms of that that capacity building within the overall arts community, which I think is why I scored it a little higher than average. But everything else has been covered, and similarly to previous conversations, my previous points have been made. Are there any other additions, comments, or revisions that anybody would like to make? Seeing none, we'll move on to our next item. So this, well, actually for ease, why don't we do all the ones that nobody has a conflict with? And then we'll go through the ones that have conflicts. So we'll skip living history for now and come back to it when Heather goes into the other room with Donna. And we will go on to Rap Bingo 4.4.8. There's no conflicts with that one, isn't there? Okay. Rap Bingo. Who is Heather? Is it your turn?
I think so. Let me just pull up the application here. I have to remember what I originally scored it as. Okay. Okay, so Rap Bingo is Seth is a turntablist DJ, producer, and artist who's rooted in the traditions of hip hop. Their mission is to bring community to life through music, art, and culture. So this application was, one second here. Sorry, I can't see them on my laptop. Okay. Rap Bingo is an interactive performance where the DJ becomes a bingo caller using vinyl records to run a live game of bingo that the audience can participate in real time. Showgoers are provided free access to custom bingo cards and dabbers upon entry to the event. The cards contain words and phrases from songs that feature in the DJ performance, which audience members can stamp upon hearing them. There's also a visual board that operates alongside the performance, showing the words on screen as they are played off the record in real time. I thought this application was really unique. It sounds fun, to be honest with you. I've never seen anything like this before. I think it could get an interesting collection of people out, meaning like different age groups and something fun and different to do, whether you're an older demographic or maybe you're just a younger demographic. It just sounds, it's really fun. I thought the artistic and cultural merit was good. The community impact, like I said, I thought that people would come out to do this, something different and unique. I thought it was pretty viable too. I think that I think people would come out and do this. You know, I just think it's interesting. I didn't have any, I can't say I had any concerns. I just, yeah, that's my comments. I thought it was good.
No problem, Heather. Larry, I know you have to go soon, so we'll.
Yeah, I do have to go. I have to go just as soon as I make my comments here. The DJ has lots of experience. I don't know how to put this. It's certainly different. It's unique. I'm not sure that I don't know if I guess being a DJ is cultural. And bingo, I'm not sure it is. Maybe it is. That made me all a little itchy, let's put it that way. It's not a large project. But he didn't talk about how he will work with Indigenous and non-Indigenous community. He just said that he was going to work with it. So that was one concern I had. The budgeting information is clear enough, I thought, but I just don't know what the antecedents are and the ability to manage it and so on. It looks like we will be the only funding that he's seeking. I guess that's enough. I'm not highly convinced on this one. I gave it 7.
Thanks, Larry. Katie?
I thought it was a really unique application. I did have some concerns similar to Larry about the cultural impact. I believe I think that it will attract youth, but I thought that it, you know, it's not going to impact as many different priority populations as we might want. I did score them a little lower, but Heather made some good points and I'm willing to increase my score.
Do you have a specific score you'd like to increase?
I think so. I think I'd increase the viability of the project to a 4. And let's increase community impact to 3.
Great.
Sorry, and community impact 3.
He did do a lot. He demonstrated that he did a lot of research with his budget. So I think he's very well established as a DJ, and I think he knows what he needs to do. I think it will attract youth. I wasn't sure about the cultural impact of the project.
Where is he going to do it? How is he going to do it?
So those are my comments.
Okay. Larry, just before any other comments, we'll go to Jane, because Jane hasn't spoken yet. My apologies, I got out of order with the windows. Jane, your comments.
Not anything different to add to what has been said. I scored him. I'm just pulling here. I scored him at a 3, 3, and 2. but just listening to the conversations that are going on, I'm willing to increase my third score of 2 to a 3.
So your sound is just cutting out a little bit, Jane, but what I heard was that you're interested to raise your score of 2 out of 3 under
Under viability.
thank you. 2 out of 3. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Wonderful. And sorry, when I say wonderful and great, I'm not like giving an assessment of your scoring, I'm just acknowledging it. Sorry. You're doing a great job. Heather.
Just to the question about where was it going to happen? It looks like in the application, it did that Rap Bingo was previously at the last year's Fringe at the museum, but it also broker partnership with local festivals such as Fringe North, Sudbury's Up Here Festival, Sault Ste. Marie's Rotary Fest. And it sounds like it could probably take place at, even if it was like, say, a private, not necessarily a private booking, but it doesn't have to be attached to a festival either. It could just take place at a local hall or somewhere like that. I think there was one more comment about that as well. It sounded like it could be anybody that wanted to book him for this, them. It would be, it could happen. It didn't have to be just a one-time event. It could be just like a multiple event.
Thank you for the clarification, Heather. Any other comments or score changes? Noting we have lost quorum, so we will be wrapping up our discussion for the day.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
Okay, so we've lost quorum, and it's always a pleasure hanging out with each of you.
We will send out a doodle poll to try to land on another meeting date so we can finish things off. So thank you, everybody.
And we're nearly done. We're almost
So
done.
close. Anyways, have a wonderful evening, everybody.